عليكم.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وبه نستعين. If you remember Miss Nargis, right?
Rabia.
Oh, sorry, excuse me. Miss Rabia on Monday talks about the, or actually Ibrahim talks about the very interesting topic about the 7 habits. Who remember it? About what was that? Pauline?
It was emotion.
Emotion. أحسنتم. Recognition of the emotion and to manage the emotion, my dear. It is very interesting, my dear, according to the emotion, to know that the most type of the emotion which mentioned in the Quran, do you know which kind of the type emotion? If you know, raise your hand, my dear. Yes, go ahead. Ignorance. It is emotion.
That's a state of being.
Okay. Any?
Spiritual.
Sorry?
Spiritual.
It's emotion, I am saying, my dear. Type of the emotion is.
I remember لا تحزنوا, don't be sad.
Ahsanti, mashallah. Yes, totally right. It is about the fearness and sadness. Quran talks about the fearness 113 times. The most type of the emotion that Allah talks about the what? Fearness. How about the sadness? Allah mentioned 41 times. Among of the first emotion which mentioned a lot, repeated a lot in the Quran is fearness. After that, 41 times talks about the sadness. It is very good. And subhanallah, the first emotion when you start from the beginning of the Quran, Surah Al-Fatiha, start from the surah. The first emotion that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks in the Surah Baqarah ayah number 38. Surah Baqarah ayah number 38. Allah, the first two emotions mentioned in the Quran from the beginning of the Quran about the fearness and sadness. Okay, my dear? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala addressed Bani Israel and says, فَمَنْ تَبِعَ هُدَايَ. O Bani Israel, O children of the Israel, whoever follow and obey my guidance, فَلَا خَوْفٌ عَلَيْهِمْ وَلَا هُمْ يَحْزَنُونَ. The one who obey my guidance, follow my guidance, they don't have any fearness and they don't have any sadness on the day of the judgment. So my question is, why Allah 113 times talks about the mentioned fearness, khawf? Keep in your mind, fearness in Arabic means khawf, and huzn. Huzn means sadness. Okay? Why Allah talks about these two emotions among the other emotions which we have a lot? Ibrahim, do you know, my dear?
Yeah, so for fearness, it basically says that we should fear Allah and we should fear Allah and
Good guess, my dear, good guess. But I was reading article from the one psychologist, my dear. He mentioned in his article, I hope you are listening. I hope you are looking. This is the very good and beneficial information which you lose if you don't pay attention, my dear. This psychologist said, fearness and sadness are two root reason for depression and anxiety. Fearness and sadness are two roots for depression and anxiety, my dear. He said the most of my patients here, most of my patient, they suffering from the anxiety and depression, my dear. What is the root for the depression and anxiety? Fearness, first of all, and the sadness. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned fearness and sadness more according to the other type of the emotions, my dear. Amazing. So what is the solution? How we can control these two emotions, my dear? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned the solution. He said what? فَمَنْ تَبِعَ هُدَايَ فَلَا خَوْفٌ عَلَيْهِمْ وَلَا هُمْ يَحْزَنُونَ. If we obey Allah, if we follow the direction of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which He mentioned in the Quran, these obedience, my dear, remove what? Sadness and fearness. The one who believes in Allah, the one who believes that I have such powerful and the strong Allah, I never ever scared anymore. I never ever what? Be sad, because I know Allah is my supporter, Allah is my helper, as He promised in the Quran. He says, وَمَن يَتَوَكَّلْ عَلَى اللَّهِ فَهُوَ حَسْبُهُ. The one who trusts in Allah, Allah is sufficient for him. He or she doesn't need to anybody else. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us tawfiq and ability to follow and obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's rules and laws in the Quran Kareem, inshallah. Thank you so much for listening and for your cooperation.